I will invite the first presenter. The first two presenters will be Dr. David Sequeira of the University of Melbourne, Australia. David Sequeira is director of the Fiona and Sidney Myer Gallery at the Victorian College of the Arts, University of Melbourne. Much of David's research has focused on the use of color and geometry in the creation of contemplative experiences for viewers. His research practice incorporates painting, sculpture, installation, photography, curatorship and visual arts policy, advocacy, and audience engagement. He has extensive experience in the areas of public art, cultural programming, and community engagement. Together with David Sequeira, there will be Jilamara Arts and Crafts Association Australia. Jilamara Arts is a remote indigenous arts center in Milikapiti, Tiwi Islands, and it's Aboriginal owned and produced authentic Tiwi art, including ironwood carved birds and tutini poles, ochre paintings on bark, canvas, linen, and paper, original limited edition prints, and hand screen printed text card. I welcome Dr. David Sequeira to speak.
Yes, thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you, thank you to the organisers for inviting me to share about this project. Before I get into things, I want to acknowledge that I live and work on Bunurong and Wurundjeri country, and long before I got here, or my particular branch of the campus, which focuses on the arts, long before we got here, actually, the Bunurong and Wurundjeri people practiced song and dance and made paintings and sculptures and shared stories and practiced healing. And, we don't take it lightly that we get to do what we do on this country. So the project that I want to talk about is an exhibition. I got seed funding from the Indigenous Knowledge Institute for a project called Yoyi Dance. And it's a visual arts project, but a visual arts project working with this community is not just about the visual arts. And whilst it took the form of a visual arts exhibition, actually what was presented was a very rich, complex, engaging, and deeply moving relationship between the visual arts, music, dance, country, and even to talk about it as a relationship is a little bit tricky. It's probably more clear to talk about it as inseparable. And I want to begin the talk by turning to the words of, I guess, my collaborator, Pedro Wanamiri, who is based in Melakapiti at Jilamara. And he recorded this very, very brief message for everybody at this conference. So here's Pedro. Hold on, I'll just make sure I can get it to play. There we are.
Hello, my name is Pedro Wanamiri. I think it's great for me to go down to Melbourne to see the exhibition at Melbourne University. Also showcase of artists dancing on country, also artists to connect body painting, design, how we connect for ceremony and funeral from body and to the man. Thank you.
So Pedro wrote a text that he asked me to share with you, and I will share it in a moment. The text is called Mintawinga Amitia Wurungura, From Bark to Moving Image. But to give you a sense of the project, I thought I'd show you some images from the exhibition itself. So the exhibition was conceived in two parts that are intimately connected. So we have a suite of about 30 bark paintings that you can see on the wall, and 5 tunga. And this is the layout of the gallery. These are some of the individual works. I haven't shown you all of them, but I wanted to give you a snapshot of the diversity of artistic practice. And these barks were shown, you'll notice they're relatively small. These are not the big giant barks that you find at Yirrkala. These are much smaller pieces. And there's this, the reason I mention that is in the next part of the exhibition, I don't know, during the exhibition, I could get a sense of these barks in proportion to people's bodies. This work is called Yoyi. It's a 4-channel video. We built a special room for this video. And essentially, it's about 30 of the artists from Milikapiti dancing on country. And I've included images of people in the exhibition so you get a sense of the scale of the project. And I'd heard about this project, actually, two graduates of the Victorian College of the Arts where I work actually are employed by Jilamara Arts and Crafts Association as the manager and coordinator. And I'd been talking to them about the possibility of doing a project. And they had told me that the community had made a video that had never been shown in the actual way it was designed, which is as a 4-channel model in its own specific room. So we got to bring that idea to fruition through the seed funding. And this is what the opening looked like with Pedro right here. Pedro, it was such a privilege to host Pedro. And I'm going to skip the next, I'm going to skip the next slide. I'm going to come back to it. But I guess the privilege for me was actually, firstly, such a privilege for us to host these extraordinary works. And we had over 300 people at the opening, and this was one of our biggest projects for the year, this year, and certainly one of our most popular. But more than that, I got to be with Pedro where he saw this video for the very first time at this scale. He'd seen it before on small monitors, but I don't think he was completely prepared for what this would look like when it was screened at this scale. So I'm going to just skip back through the slides, and I'm going to read you a piece of text that Pedro wrote especially for this project. The text is called Mintawinga Amitya Wurungura, From Bark to Moving Image. We still use old ways on the Tiwi Islands, but then also some new. We still use bark to make paintings. We collect the bark in the wet season to make flat pieces for painting. We call them Purunguparari or Mintawinga. This is old language for flat pieces of bark. I remember old people using Mintawinga to make shelter before tin sheds, and now we still paint on these at the art centre. Mintawinga is Tiwi language and not used much anymore. We also use stringy bark to make the tunga, folded bark baskets that we decorate with Jilamara. with Jilamara or Yirinkiri Warja, compositions of Kulu Wukari, Wanga, and Malapinyini, circles, dots, and lines in locally sourced earth pigments. Wurungura is old language for moving forward, and Wuli Maui, old people, use this word to describe film or music image. Now we have this in our exhibitions with our artwork too. That is why I use these words to describe this exhibition. The old language for both bark and moving image. When we paint on bark or tunga, using ochres that we collect from country, we are carrying the story of the Tiwi. The yellow and white comes from the ground. Black is taken from charcoal, and we burn the yellow on kikwani, fire, to make different shades of the red. Also, when we make bark basket, we fold and shape the bark when it is wet, and we then sew both sides using string that we take from the beech tree. We strip string from the bark of a branch. We call the string alabancha or yunga tangini. These are the old ways, and they are important to us as Tiwi people. It is really important that we use these materials and hold this knowledge for making tunga, ceremonial ornaments that we wear, pimaniki, feather headpiece, takwayinga, the feather ball, impuja, the feather beard, for Yoyi, for dance, and for pukamani ceremony. Material from country is important to us. We use sand from the beach during pukamani ceremony, leaves for the shade that we dance under, and ochres from the land to paint our bodies, the poles, and the tunga. Materials from country, that is all part of the Tiwi story. Now at Jilamara Arts and Crafts Association, we are using video or camera and sound audio to record these things. Before we did not record these things, but now we are using this new medium to record calling out, singing, and clapping. The songs and dance connect to our ancestors and the Wuli Maui elders. Our culture is still alive from Palingari, long time, to today. We are moving forward. Some songs are changing, some dances are changing a little, and technology is changing. I see this as I get older, but we still connect as one mob, one Tiwi mob, and we are moving forward together, like the old and the new coming together. Wurungura, meaning moving forward. It is like the song that I got from my grandfather that is all about the bulldozers making the first road on Melville Island. My grandfather was out collecting sugar bag. Then he heard this big machinery and he sang a song about it. He was using the old language to sing about changes that were coming. Now there is a road that connects the two communities on Melville. We have a song about when it happened. We did not sing that song when my father passed away, but when my nephew passed, we brought it in, and now our family uses that song for ceremony and funeral. On Tiwi, we have completely different culture to mainland Indigenous Australians. Our songline, dance, and the art we make belongs to us Tiwi. New technology is new, and we are using it. But we still have that story. It is ours. With the story and the new coming together, we are moving forward. As we are moving forward, we still need to connect. The song connects to the dance, the body painting, and the ceremonial ornaments connects to the art we make. The tunga and the carving and painting are still strong. From Palingari to today, The films and recordings we make help us bring this forward into the future to connect. That is why I use the old Tiwi language, Mintawinga, Wurrungura, to describe the bark moving forward and the moving image in Tiwi language. The old and the new coming together is our story. From Paralingari to today, moving forward, but always remembering. Thank you. I don't have anything to add to this, to Pedro Wanamiri's text, except to share that when I took on the project, I actually had no idea of the impact it would have, the impact that it would have, just its presence in the gallery, its presence on the campus. And I can't put that impact into words. I can talk about how many people saw it, but I don't have any words for the profound resonance of these objects, the video, their combination, the presence of Pedro. And I'm just going to finish by saying I was unprepared for how deeply moved an entire community could be by the generosity of the Milikapiti community with this project. Thank you very much.